Sir, we received a complaint about a safety violation here.
I am trying to fix it. Please do not find me.
He is doing the best he can.
Why has this not been taken care of sooner?
My wife's medical bills took everything I had.
I didn't stop because the grass was tall. I stopped because something about the man standing on the porch made me realize this job was never really about a lawn. He stood just inside the shade of the roof, as if he wasn't sure he still belonged in the sunlight. His posture was careful, not aggressive or defensive. It was the kind of careful you see in people who have learned that the world doesn't forgive mistakes easily anymore. One hand rested on the porch railing, fingers tightly curled around the wood. Not casually, but deliberately, as if letting go might cause him to lose balance, or worse, lose permission to stay where he was. He was thin, not from dieting or exercise, but the kind that develops slowly over years as stress eats away before hunger does. His shoulders rolled forward, protecting his chest like armor worn too long. His face had deep lines that didn't come from age alone, but from years spent worrying in silence. Behind him was a house that had seen better times. The paint was faded, the steps worn down at the edges, the doorframe chipped from years of opening and closing. Still, it wasn't abandoned. It was lived in, loved in. It was the kind of place that doesn't shine anymore, but still remembers what warmth feels like. He had lived there for more than 40 years. He moved in when the neighborhood was young, when families filled the street and kids played until the street lights came on. Back then, the grass stayed short because weekends were predictable. Mow the lawn, wash the car, sit on the porch with neighbors, and complain about the heat. This house had been his anchor, the place where he raised his children, where laughter echoed down the hallway, where a woman he loved more than anything else in the world once cooked meals in a kitchen that now lay quiet. His wife had been sick for a long time. At first, it was just fatigue. Routine doctor visits, then tests, then more tests, then the word that rearranges everything: cancer. The house changed after that. Furniture moved to make room for medical equipment. The bedroom became a place of quiet beeping and blinking lights. Nights turned into long hours of listening, counting breaths, watching monitors, waiting for alarms that always sounded louder in the dark. Medicare helped, but help has limits. There were costs that slipped through the cracks, medications not fully covered, ongoing equipment rentals, transportation, co-pays. Paperwork stacked higher each month, printed in language that seemed more for accountants than grieving spouses. He didn't complain, he didn't argue, he paid what he could. When she passed, the machines went silent. The house felt hollow. But the bills didn't stop. They arrived on schedule, as if nothing had changed, as if love, effort, and sacrifice were irrelevant details. He opened every envelope, read every letter, tried to understand words that seemed intentionally cold. Default, outstanding balance, notice of intent. The debt lingered like a ghost no one else could see. He sold his tools first, the ones he'd owned since his kids were young. Tools that fixed doors, patched fences, repaired leaks. Then the furniture, the dining table that once hosted family dinners, chairs worn smooth by decades of use. Each sale took something from the house and from him. The pickup truck was next, his last reliable thing, the last piece of independence he hadn't given up yet. The lawn was all he had left. Mowing it made him feel useful, capable, in control. But his body was failing him in quiet ways. Knees locked without warning, vision blurred when he bent too long, hands trembled when fatigue set in. The slope near the sidewalk had become tricky, slick after rain, uneven with time. The grass grew faster than he could manage. Someone noticed. They didn't ask why. They didn't knock. They reported it. The city sent a warning and then a deadline. The language was clear. He read the letter several times, folded it neatly, and put it on the kitchen table, as if organization alone might solve the problem. It didn't. That was the morning I arrived. When he stepped onto the porch, he didn't yell. He didn't demand. He apologized before saying anything else. His voice was low and careful, shaped by years of trying to not be a burden. He asked if I could please take care of it. He asked if I could avoid filing any reports. He said he was trying to save the house. That was when the city patrol car pulled up. The officer was polite and professional, clipboard in hand. He explained the complaint had been filed. Safety codes required the grass to be cut. Failure to comply could result in fines. The man nodded the entire time. When he spoke, his voice cracked, not loudly, but enough. He talked about his wife, the treatments, the debt, how the bank was already threatening foreclosure, how another fine might push him past the point of recovery. He said this house was the only place where his wife ever felt calm, the only place where the pain seemed quieter, the only place that still felt like home. The officer stopped writing. He looked at the yard, the porch, the worn front door. Nothing about the situation felt like a crime. Nothing about it felt fair. Standing there, I realized the grass was never the problem. This yard wasn't neglect. It was grief stretched thin over time. It was exhaustion. It was a man trying to survive quietly without asking the world for more than had already taken. I started the more, not because it was required, not because it would fix everything, but because sometimes help doesn't look heroic. Sometimes help just looks like cutting grass before the last line is crossed. As the mower moved, the sound filled the silence that had wrapped around that house. The grass fell in clean rows. The sidewalk reappeared. The yard began to look like something the city could accept again. He stood there the whole time, watching, hands folded, eyes tired but somehow lighter. When I finished, he didn't say much. He just nodded. And that nod was gratitude, relief, and the kind of dignity that doesn't need words. As I pulled away from the curb, the yard behind me looked ordinary again. But I knew what it had cost for it to stay that way. Moments like this don't make headlines. They don't come with explanations. They just pass quietly, unnoticed by most. If this story reached you, if it made you pause for even a second, leave a comment and type the word "understood." One word is enough to show that this story didn't disappear unnoticed. And if you want to keep hearing these stories hidden behind these lawns, subscribe to Lawn Mowing Stories. Every subscription helps ensure these moments are seen, not ignored.